All right, and we are live.
Oh, yes, sir.
Give it a quick second. Let me get on the computer to make sure everything. Let's see. Just queuing up the laptop real quick
Cool.
behind the screen here so I can make sure I catch any comments coming in.
Dopeness.
All right. 1 second.
Okay.
All right. Let's rock and roll. We have a couple of guests here. Thank y'all for tuning in. My name is Stephen Gomez. This is Michael Neal.
Yes, sir. What's going on, my good people? Hope y'all having a great day, great evening. Still trying to figure out all these settings and cameras. Yeah, we're gonna make it work though. We're gonna make it work.
So today we wanted to, really just talk about the aspects of credit repair. It's not just repair part. Like there's other portions to it. That a lot of people I feel don't talk about, and that is helping the clients build their credit. When I first started several years ago, I remember just focusing on deletions. And then next thing you know, like the next month, Equifax or Experian pops up with a big old goose egg for a score. And I'm like, oh shit, what happened?
And it happens more often than not, man. I think that even when I'm working with my clients, I see a lot of that too. I just had a guy recently. I mean, he was trying to get funded for a business funding, and obviously at that point you can't have any derogatory accounts on there. I think he had a collection account charge off and some other stuff, but people don't understand how that stuff's weighted on the credit report. If we remove it and that's the only credit history you have, and we don't add these credit building products, like you said, man, you get that big old goose egg and you're like, well, I need to build up this credit so I can get this business fund, or so I can get this house, or I can get approved for this car loan. But they don't really understand that, like you said prior to this call, Stephen, that that's only 50% of the process.
Yeah, and I think a lot of, cause I've been trying to, do a lot of research and watch different videos and talking to people, that do credit repair. And I don't hear a lot on that side of the house talking about the building part. I mean, even for myself, before I started a credit repair company, I mean, I had shit credit, and I went through several different companies before I decided to create my own because I was so pissed off. For one, I just felt like there was no communication and they were taking my money, which I think is most people's, big gripe when it comes to credit repair. But two, they're like, oh, we got these deletions, we got these deletions. All right, that's cool, but my score is actually dropping
Right.
because I'm not adding anything positive back.
Hmm. Hmm. And the crazy thing about that is too is that I've been through it too. I've been through the credit repair process, and going through trying to get my credit repaired and not understanding the whole process. And so, I think once again going back to it, people get so hung up on credit scores. But it's not always about credit scores versus the credit profile and what that credit profile looks like. And not a lot of people understand the data points that you have to have, and how that, just how it's spread out and the points and how they are weighted on the credit report. So, and adding those credit builders are huge. Like when we get people coming to our programs, I'll go with homeowners. Me being a licensed realtor, I think that this is the easiest topic for me to touch on because sometimes it's just a combination of a few things. Now we're looking at credit utilization being the biggest, payment history being the next biggest thing, but then within that, those collection accounts and those charge offs and all that other stuff. Sometimes people don't get denied because they don't understand that that stuff can be actually added to the closing costs. We're looking at credit builders in. What is it that we need to do to build that credit or strengthen that credit? Number one, let's take that credit utilization down. But when you come in and you do have the charge offs, collection, and bankruptcies, etc., let's start adding positive accounts right out the gate. Let's start adding positive trade lines right out the gate because that sometimes can be just enough to push you over the edge. And not understanding this, or credit repair companies not talking about this, you're actually doing your clients a disservice. So when you come into us, we telling you right away, I'm going to the ones that we know report on credit reports, and people are actually building their credit doing this. You're talking about Kovo, you're talking about Self, you're talking about Rent Reporters, you're talking about Credit Strong, you're talking about the credit builder cards. Adding those accounts right out the gate, understanding the difference between the installment aspect of it or the a revolving aspect of it, man, it's huge. But I think that, like you said, that people are not really discussing that when it comes to credit repair.
And I tell people too, like when it comes to their payment history, like you can literally have a credit card with $50 on it, and as long as you just make that small payment every month, that's 35% of your score. That they're not looking at, hey, well, Michael Neal, the baller over here, spent $1,000 on his payment this month, where Gomez, his broke ass, only spent a $25 payment. It don't matter. It's just a payment.
Exactly.
There's no number behind it. So I tell people that the best thing to do is, if you have several credit cards, look at like your Netflix, Hulu, these little accounts that you can just put on those cards and then pay them off. You're
Mhm.
building credit history every single month, and it's easy, and it's not spending, four, five, $600 on a credit card. It's just something little, 'cause it's just a payment history. People don't think about that.
Right. And the cool thing about that too is like, so some of these people let's break down like a Self account. I love Self. I've used Self. I keep Self on my credit reports all the time. I think that that's one of the best ones, but it's almost like having that CD on when you go to a bank, you get a CD. When you get a Self account, that's an installment account. Now, what that does is that you can do it on terms. There's no interest payments or anything like that. But if you go through a 2-year term, you got a $30 a month payment. At the end of that 2-year term, you will get all of your money back. You're creating not only an installment account for your credit report with on-time payments, but you also making a small investment on your money to where you're actually creating some type of savings. So I think that it's really crucial that you understand that some of these credit builders are helping. Now, if you go with somebody like Credit Strong, you can actually get a revolving account and you can get an installment account. That revolving account is huge. And why you want to have that? Because that's the biggest chunk of your credit report. That's 35% of the credit report. So now you have a secure credit card, you getting on-time payments, and then you got an installment account, which you're getting on-time payments, and they're both paid through it. You don't even get the secure credit card with Credit Strong. They just report it every single month. So the benefit of adding that right away, once we get to month 3 or month 4, when the deletions really start to pick up, now you've built it. And within like Self, I think you can get anywhere from, I don't even know what it is on average. It varies from credit report to credit report, depending on what's on there. But I've seen people jump up 100 points in 60 days just off of a Self account, and that's
Man.
huge, man. That's huge.
Yeah, and I think too, um, with installment accounts, you really need that to help, on that credit profile. Because I've heard people say like, "Oh, I got a 700 credit score, and I got denied." Well, yeah, because your profile doesn't look right. You don't have shit on there, but a $500 credit card. Like,
Right.
somebody took your money and didn't really explain, what they needed to explain on
Right.
how to build your proper credit profile.
Exactly. And then looking at that, because we even go from, if you look at it from a business credit standpoint and what you need to have reporting, we always look at data points and what does that data point look like, or what does that credit profile look like? Well, we know that we want to have anywhere from 3 to 4 revolving accounts. We want to have anywhere from 2 to 3 installment accounts. We want to have a good credit mix, and we want to have a pretty decent credit history. We want to minimize the amount of inquiries that we have on there. And when I'm looking at people's credit history, sometimes, and then again, let's go back to the home buyers. If you're renting a house or if you're renting an apartment, whatever you might be renting, let's go ahead and grab Rent Reporters or Boom so we can get 2 years worth of history. In some cases, they'll even report more years of history. So now you get that payment history. And I know Boom, they only take the positive payments that you reported. So you don't get the negative payments if you missed one or you had a mishap. You get the time, you get the history, you get the positive payments, and you start reporting those positive payments on a month-to-month basis. And now we're building that credit report that we're strengthening. We're making sure that we can, number one, get applied for funding, whether it's getting financed for a car, buying a house, but we're strengthening that profile. We're making sure that profile looks good. Like you said, they don't care about a 700 credit score. Shit, you can have 2 positive accounts on your credit report and then have a 700 credit score. If you got a little
Right.
history, it's all matter. It really does. Yeah, so we have to build that, man. And I be trying to tell people all the time, and I post about it in my on my Facebook all the time. Like, go get this, even if you got a 700 credit score. Go get this, even if you don't think that you need it. Always add it, because you can never have too many positive accounts showing that you're paying positive timely payments on your credit report.
Absolutely. I just want to hold off for a quick, see if anybody has any questions, comments, anything we can help out with. That's why we're doing this essentially every week, is taking time from our crazy busy schedules, is just really to help. We're trying to give free game. We're not charging you nothing. Mike and I both are crazy busy people. Like, I know right now he's traveling, doing his stuff with the NFL, but still taking time, away to hop on here. And I was just telling him, I said, man, my back hurts. I've been in this chair all day. Like, I'm ready to get up. But
Yeah,
you know what? It's Tuesday, and we got to get on here. We got to chop it up with you guys. So if y'all have questions right now, please feel free to ask. We're gonna shoot you straight. We're not gonna bullshit you. We're not trying to sell you on nothing.
right.
We're legit here to just really, help and really tell you what other credit repair companies aren't gonna tell you.
Yeah, and you know what, man? It's cool that we do this because I'm always in the game, man. I'm cutting my grass and I'm listening to stuff that's going on. And the crazy thing about this too is that I was reading, and this is just in 2024, so this was just updated. And I just got off a phone call about this because really what we're trying to do is pour into the communities and pour into just people who don't understand the financial literacy aspect of it. Like you talked about me traveling with the NFL, I'm linking up with one of my guys who has a very successful tour road business that's going to be on Shark Tank. Uber's trying to partner up with him right now to do some big business with his tour road business. But then we want to get back into the NFL community or pro athlete community or start touching even children in high school and college and start educating them on the importance of credit, because with the way our economy is set up, bro, you can't get a job, you can't buy a house, you can't buy a house, life insurance, any type of health insurance, homeowners insurance, credit, employment. Credit is everything now. Credit worthiness is everything now. And if you don't understand that, they say statistically, and I just post this on Facebook, over the 20-30 year span, if you're not having bad credit, what is the cost of that? They say on average for any American, that's over $1 million. And that's adding all
It's
the interest and stuff.
crazy.
It's crazy, man. So you think, I don't want to make this investment right now because I'm wasting my money, or I don't need to know about credit. I could just go ahead. You're working your ass off just to be able to, you stand in a rat wheel at the end of the day. It's not about getting credit to flex credit to say that I got good credit, but it's understanding I need good credit. How can I leverage credit? How could this, me having good credit, be an investment to me in my future? And how can I save money? These are all very important factors, man. And so for me, it's just coming back and educating that, because I don't care if you've had millions of dollars. I've been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? I've spent a million, made a million, just like that. But at the end of the day, when it came down for my situations, I was trying to get finance for things and I was getting denied. I'm like, I'm on the phone being cocky as hell. Like, yo, do you I am, like, literally like talking crazy. I was young. Like, do you know who I am? Do you know how much money I have? And it wasn't until I got on the phone with the lady and she was like, honey, I don't care how much money you have, your credit is shit. And I was just trying to get a cell phone. And this is like 7 years ago. You can only
Right.
imagine how much more it's costing people these days.
Yeah, and that's crazy. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I remember, being younger, owning a business, making, really good money, working on all types of cars. But I mean, it was great that I had cash, and I made damn good money. But when it came to try to get an apartment or something, I'm trying to find someone to co-sign for me, or to be like, hey, let me put it in your name. Because my ghetto ass, yeah, I got money, but no one ever taught me about credit.
Right,
No one ever taught me, when we were in school back then, they're teaching us how to write into checkbooks.
right.
When no one talking about credit, like even now, I'm really surprised. Like my daughter, she's 12, Mia, I talk to her about credit all the time,
Hmm.
and I got her on one of my Capital One cards as an authorized user to start building credit already. So by the time she's out of school, I mean, she's set, she's going to have all kinds of different stuff on her credit, because I'm going to work on building her profile to set her up for success. Because, for a lot of us that came from, that older generation, nobody taught us that.
Yeah, 100%. And how to leverage it, like you said. I think me and my son's and about to be a junior, and we had these conversations all the time. It's like, hey, he's like, well, I don't, trying to even teach him what direction to go. And he's like, Mike, I want to get into real estate. Cool. Okay, well, let me show you how you can leverage credit to get into real estate. So attaching him to credit cards, giving him credit history, building his credit, giving him a 700 credit score, 800 credit score. So now when he leaves, and even when he gets to some people employ their kids under the LLCs at the age of
Yep.
13, age of 14. And now what you do is you get them a business, you build them a business. So now they have business credit going into this. So cool. Yeah, now you want to leave, you want to go to college. Okay, let me tell you what you do in college. You get at sports, if you get a scholarship, cool. But you have this business entity set up. You have this good credit. Now, if you want to go into real estate, we can teach you how to passively invest in real estate. But now let's leverage the bank's money. Let's leverage the business's money to invest in real estate. And now, before you even know it, the kid's already making millions of dollars just by passively investing in real estate. And this is how you create that generational wealth. You do insurance policies for them. Now, I don't get too hell bent on talking about insurance policies. I'm not an insurance policy expert. I have people that do that for me, but teaching them about whole life insurance, how to invest in that to be able to create generational wealth and build legacies. Like, this is all important information that people don't understand, and just being able to provide that for them on these calls, man, is huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I tell my daughter Mia all the time, I'm just like, you know, you're gonna have a business by the time you're starting college. Like, you know, it was crazy. I was telling her one day, I was like, I don't want you to have to work like a regular job. You know, I want you just to start the business and roll with it. And it was crazy because she was just like, no, Dad, I think I want to work like a regular job for a little bit and just to kind of see what it's like, just to see how people treat you, like to have a boss, to work a 9 to 5, to work retail. And I'm like, are you crazy?
Right.
She was like, I want to see that. So that way I never want to go back. And I was just like, damn it, I did good. You know?
Right. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. My thing is for anybody that's watching, if you got any questions about these credit builders, how to be able to create that credit profile, what that strong credit profile looks like. If you want to get funded for a business, if you want to understand business funding, please comment, please ask questions, because this is information that we can give to you and freely help you with those things, because it's very important that we do so. We don't want to be on here BS anybody's time, but I think that it's just opening the conversation and then allowing people to jump in and understand what's kind of happening in the market today, how you can go ahead and pivot and use this credit stuff. And if there's anything that you got on your credit report that you got questions about, we want to be able to provide you solutions and answers to that, to make sure that, hey, you leave with your cup filled, but we able to give you information that you can use and move forward with it. Now, Stephen, I know that we talked about a little bit about this. Starting a credit repair business, which is interesting enough because, like I said, I'm always reading stuff. I know that they say predicting over the next couple of years that the credit repair business will be one of the top businesses. I mean, billions of dollars worth in $1 billion industry. For anybody that's looking to start credit repair, what would you suggest to them? Because I know that you kind of got me in the game. You kind of taught me a little bit about that. How would you go about doing that, and how could you tell people, the best strategies to get involved with being in the credit repair company?
I think the first thing really is to do your research. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, there's a link right there for a school for credit champions. That's actually uh, Mike's school, where he has an ebook and he talks about credit. You know, I used to do coaching and I don't anymore because I just got so many other things, but I would highly suggest them going to your school and really just checking it out, seeing, and then hopping on these calls and asking questions like, hey, what does it take? Like, this shit's not easy for sure. It will humble your ass real quick.
Right.
Like, if it was me starting all over again, I would, for one, get a mentor,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I would try to surround myself with people in this industry that really know. But I would try to get, like, just like I did the first time when I started, is try to get as much information as I can for free.
Hmm.
I always tell people this, man. I was 17 years old. I worked at the YMCA. I'll never forget this guy. His name is Aaron Rodriguez. He said, get as much as you can for as little as you can.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that shit always went with me. And I was just like, man, I'm gonna try and get so much game for free, why I can't where I can, because this it's a big investment starting, a credit repair company, and it costs a lot of money. And surprisingly, you really do have to have good credit,
Hmm.
for the merchant account,
Hmm.
for the bond, and nobody talks about that stuff,
Yep. Yep.
can you start a credit repair business with bad credit? Absolutely. But I would highly suggest you getting yourself squared away first and really understanding credit, and then go and help people. I know for months, I just watched YouTube and was Googling and reading stuff. And I mean, but now there's just so much out there, but you have to be careful too, because a lot of people are just full of shit.
Yeah,
But I mean, really just find a community like your school or any community. Just try to get in somewhere where people are legit, where they're going to answer your questions and they're not going to try to feed you bullshit right off the bat.
facts. And I got one question I seen in my comments. I'm gonna go ahead and answer it right quick, and then I'm gonna piggyback what Steven said. If my credit score is 580, can I get it to be 700 in less than 69 days? Number one, I'm glad that you asked me that, because as a credit repair company, like Steven just talked about, what you do have to understand is the laws and the regulations on this. Now, in order for me to cover my own ass, I can't guarantee you any results. Also, I don't know what the credit profile looks like, so I can't tell you without looking at your credit profile if I can get you to a 700, because like I said, there's data points that you have to hit to make sure, because there is a such thing as bucketing when it comes to credit reports. Do you fit this bucket or do you fit this mold? But I will tell you, one of the fastest ways to improve that is to take a look at your credit report and add credit builders. And if you add those credit builders, yes, is there a possibility that you can raise that score to 700? I don't know, but can we get it higher? Absolutely. But you just have to understand, do I need a secure credit? Do I need a secure credit card or revolving credit account? Do I need an installment account? Do I need to report history? Do I use trade lines? I personally don't, but I do think that if you need to get a trade line, that's another way to boost your credit score. You can go to places like Trade Line Supply. So that's how you can boost that credit score within within a certain amount of time frame. But I can't guarantee the results on that. But I will say this too, to piggyback what Steven was saying, is that you have to get to mentorship. I got mentors. I tell y'all right now, Steven's one of them. Dion Cootwood is one of my mentors. Darius Benners, who I'm supposed to be on his coaching call right now. Forgive me. I'm gonna jump in there when I'm done with this. And he's one of my mentors as well. I have various mentors in the game, and I keep them because information circles itself, and they're in these high level groups. And some of this information you do have to pay for. Get a coach. And I tell people this all the time: I could never have been successful in football if I didn't have a coach. Could have never made it to where I was at if I didn't have a coach. Get a coach and make sure that you do, or you go do and you take a look at this coach and see their credibility. Are they really practicing what they preach? Because like Steven said, can you start a credit repair with bad credit? You 100% can. But what position do you have now? If you improve your credit, you can use yourself as a testimonial to teach people how to get to that point. So you want to pay for these mentorships, and you want to be able to get in there. Understand credit tactics. There's a lot of fast or clean this shit up fast and get this off your credit report fast. That's cool, but I'm old school, because old school works. You can't reinvent the wheel. So for me, what do? We go through a series of methods. I call it the trilogy. This is how we dispute credit reports. I am a Metro 2 believer. I've been using this for 4 or 5 years now. I love Metro 2 and understanding what Metro 2 is. And if you understand what Metro 2 is essentially data furnishers and the credit reporting agencies got together and created this Metro 2 system to make sure that your information was reported on the credit report accurately. So understand that, understand the FCRA and the consumer laws. And if you understand these two things, you already ahead of the ball game. Understanding factual disputing, which is what I learned from Steven. And if you understand how to use all three of these, your chances of being able to get deletions are a whole hell of a lot higher. But how do you know this? Can you go to YouTube University? Absolutely. I've learned a lot of stuff from YouTube, but to know advanced tactics, you need to attach yourself to a mentor or to a teacher that's going to be able to put you to that point. So yeah, you do want to get into credit. I don't care what the situation is. You need credit to be able to operate in this world if you want to do something special, in my opinion, and attach yourself to a mentor or start a credit repair business. Or you could just use my Metro 2 software to dispute your accounts, man. I'll drop a link for it if you all want it, but it's the same software that we use within my company to go ahead and get all these crazy deletions. I post them all the time. The results are ridiculous. So you do want to be able to do this and leverage this to be able to get to where you need to be.
For sure. Yeah, I be seeing your results and I'm just like, damn, I'm all having to pull mine up. And I'm just like, damn, he beat me. Like I gotta get my game up.
I'm gonna tell you one thing you smooth with that I ain't got yet is them late payments, man. I be fighting like hell to get them, but we've been pulling them and getting them lately though.
But you know what's crazy, man, is we're always learning. I was talking to a gentleman today about a software where he was talking to me about doing e-Oscar disputes and
Mhm.
showing me like the e-Oscar codes and stuff. And I was just like, whoa, like that's a game changer. And he was
100%.
kind of chopping it up with that. And I'm just like, damn, and it's crazy because from talking to him, like he's just like, man, I'm going to give you all this game for free. Like, I'm not even going to charge you,
Right.
and I couldn't believe it because I'm just like, man, I am so blessed that I've been able to meet people like that who could charge me thousands,
Hmm. Hmm.
for their software and, just what they know. I mean, the guy's been doing it a lot longer than I have, knows, you know, different things that I do, so now I'm just thinking like, okay, how do I put that in my toolbox?
100%.
And that's one thing about being in the credit repair business is you have to be diversified. You
Hmm.
can't just do that one little thing. Like you said, hey, I use these different tactics. And with the way these letters are these days, I mean, you got to. We've been going really hard with litigation lately, and just trying to sue third party debt collectors, and we're killing it. I'm building a whole software around it right now, and I can't wait to really start pushing that even more. You know what I
Man,
mean?
I don't even want to interrupt you, but for people that don't know what litigation is, could you explain what litigation is and why you want to use litigation?
Absolutely. So there's the FCRA and then there's the FDCPA. Both of these are protecting consumer rights. So the biggest thing that I always hear is folks getting called at work. Like one of my homeboys called me the other day. He's like, "Man, this creditor's calling my wife, bro. Like, what do I do?" And I was like, "I got you."
Hmm. Hmm.
Like they can't harass you, they can't threaten you. I even had a friend tell me, like, hey, these people said that they were going to come to my work and talk to my supervisor and serve me here. And I was like, no, they can't do that. So what we're looking at is how they're violating the law with these type of things, and then they're also reporting, like it should, like an E8 violation is a real easy one. It should be in dispute, marked on your credit after you dispute it, and it's not. We can actually take them to litigation for that. So what we're doing is we're not only getting it deleted, but we're getting it deleted permanently,
Hmm.
where they're not going to sell it or anything. They're not going to say, "Oh yeah, we just can't validate it. We'll take it off." It's no, we can't validate it, and we're going to delete it, and we're sorry. And they're going to pay us a little bit of bread for doing that.
Hmm. Hmm. That's huge, man. I think that, and it was crazy is people don't know that you can get paid for actually having information reported on your credit report that's not supposed to be there. And I'm glad that you brought this up, and it triggered another thought. Not to get too far off of litigation, but there's one thing that people talk about all the time, man. The secondary credit bureau thing, disputing them, dismissing them, or suppressing them, whatever the case may be. Listen, when it comes to suppressing secondary agencies, that shit does not work. And I'm gonna tell you why it does not work. Because once it's reported on your credit report and you suppress that secondary agency, they have record of it. So of course they're going to come back and verify it every single time you go dispute it because they have record of it. What happens is though, is if you have a new account on there and you suppress those secondary agencies and then you ask them to verify it, now they can't release that information because you suppress that credit profile. But if you're trying to go through the credit repair process and you're trying to suppress secondary agencies, that's not going to work and get an account removed, which again, this goes right back into litigation. This goes back right back into the Oscar disputes. Oscar is heavily piggybacked off Metro 2 compliance. If you look
Yep.
at the Metro 2 compliance letter, it's all data codes because when you send in the credit report, they're going to open that shit up, send it through the Oscar system. It's going to mark it up with a code. They're going to send it to the data furnisher. They telling you to wait 30 to 35 days so they can get you dispute results. But I can tell you right now that they'll probably verify within 72 hours. But the Metro 2 compliance system, all it does is we code them with the same damn code. So when you go send it through the Oscar system, it's like, uh-oh, something's wrong with this credit report. Now they have to physically verify that account. So
Yep.
sometimes in our company, what we do is we overwhelm them with the Metro 2 system. So we're going to send out a dispute letter every 15 days. So while you still trying to verify, we're going to send you another so you can physically verify. How many times do you think that they're going to sit there and try to physically verify it when they have like 30 million disputes coming in? Man, ain't nobody got
Oh yeah, they're gonna just push it on through. They'll be like, nope.
exactly.
Hey, call it a day. Just let them have it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly. Nobody's about
and that's the thing too, is being consistent.
to.
I see people all the time. I mean, it takes time. There's that saying it's kind of ugly, but people say, hey, your credit didn't go to shit overnight, so it's not going to get better overnight. I mean,
No.
there's obviously nicer ways to say it, but
Yeah.
it's true. Just being honest, like, hey, man, you screwed up. It took you years to screw up how much you screwed up. And that's okay. We've all been there. Like, we
Right.
get it. But don't come talking to me about, well, I saw on TikTok this guy said I could have my shit done in 30 days.
Right.
All right, cool. Yeah, take 30 days and then you'll take 30 months in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Exactly.
don't think that's a fair trade.
Right. 100%, man. And people don't understand the whole process and why they do that. I don't think that they're educated enough to go ahead and tell you why they can get it removed in 30 days because there's no education behind that. If you do it, you just pretty much claiming fraud, and that's you're not supposed to do that. So, yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's what's crazy. But yeah, understanding these processes, understanding how this stuff works, and just for consumers that always, because I get these type of questions, like people ask me why their credit score dropped. I was kind of pissed. Somebody asked me about that yesterday, and I created a reel. I had to take it down. But my thing is this: when you come into the credit repair, this is a business. And if the people do it the right way, they will treat it as a business. Yes, there are automated emails, there's automated text messages, but they are in place because that comes from years and years and years of sending people through a system and understanding what the clients need and how to educate them on the process. So if we sending you letters and you just call me and go, well, why did my credit score drop? And I'm gonna ask you, well, why the fuck did your credit utilization go up 30%? Or why did you go
Yeah.
open up an account after I told you not to? Or why did you get a new collection account and didn't tell me? So don't call me, questioning me, asking me what's going on if you're not taking the time out to look at this. It's just as much of our job to educate you as it is for your job to seek education as well and pay attention to these type of things. So when you're going through the process, man, be diligent about it, understand it, and understand what it's doing for you and how it can help you. This is just not a one-way street. I come from a team aspect. I expect all my clients to be in the team with me. And then that's why I tell them, you're my teammate, you're not my client. If we do this the right way, we can get you to your goals a whole hell of a lot faster. We don't need to do a credit sweep. We don't need to guarantee you 30 days. We're going to get you there in 3 to 4 months, but it's a process and understand that process. So don't come barking up a tree and get your ass big because I ain't the one. At the end of the day, so just understand the whole program and what we're trying to do and how we're trying to help. So, hey, man, we're trying to give y'all as much as we can, and me and Steven to do this for as long as we possibly can. But we encourage you, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Drop them in the comments, drop them in the DMs. This is your time to get this information for free. Is an example of that freezing LexisNexis. Yes, I just seen this question come through. So you don't need to freeze that because it's already reported to LexisNexis. What you want to do is send them a dispute letter because they are a actual credit bureau. So when you think about it, you have Innovis, you have Experian, you have TransUnion, and you have Equifax. But then, yes, that's part of it. So you can send a dispute letter to them just like how you can send a dispute letter to any of those other agencies. And now they have to verify that information. If they can't verify it, they have to delete it. I've gotten a ton of things deleted from Lexis just because of the simple fact that they can't verify that information. Once you get that information removed, now when you go back and you dispute that with the credit bureaus, it's going to be hard for them to verify because they do go to certain ones and actually ask them for information, but you have to know who the top ones, who the top dogs are. And if you go attack those top dogs and you get the information removed, they can't verify it. Now, when you go back and dispute it with the regular credit bureaus, they can't verify it because all they're doing is running to them because they don't have the information. So, yes, you don't have to freeze them. I don't think that does you any good. I think that you should just go ahead and dispute them right out the gate. Now, that's my 2 cents. It works for me, and I've seen it work for. I just know that people that try to do it and don't get deletions and call me like, "Why is this not working?" Because the shit doesn't work. So, yeah.
Right.
So, but
Shit, man. All right. Well, we've been on this 30 minutes, I think we had some pretty good questions. Again, like Mike said, if you guys have more questions, please drop them in the comments, shoot us a DM. We're not always super available, but if we see it, we'll do our best to get back to it. You know, Paul Gray's raw and uncut. Yeah, man, we're definitely raw and uncut every time we get on here. That's one thing we talked about before we did this. Is if we're just gonna keep it real and no bullshit, and you can either tap in or you can just walk on by. It ain't shit to us. We're just here.
like I said, man, my thing is this: I've been through the ringer. I've won and I've lost. And I just want people to win, and that's my heart. Because pretty soon, to be honest with everybody on here, I will 100% keep my credit repair business, but I'm going to put that on the back burner, which is why I've been pushing my software. I'm going into a more of a teaching style, but I'm going back to the community, the football community, to teach football players about this and help some of my brothers in need. And obviously, anybody else that wants to join, you are 100% welcome to. But at the end of the day, I do know that there's a need for this in the way that the economy is going. I read articles every single day. These interest rates that people are looking at, they are not going to drop. no time soon.
It's
And I don't care
crazy.
who get elected, it's just not going to happen. So my best advice to you is that if you still want to purchase or you want to be in a position to make power moves, this is a key thing, because you don't want to get caught on the back burner or lacking because you just don't have the credit report or you don't have the credit scores to move forward. And what's that cost, man? Is going to cost you a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? So we just here to educate, man. I want to give you as much game as I possibly can. If you got any questions, like Steven said, obviously reach out. We always here to inform you, but in a minute it's going to be closed shop for the free game. It's going to have to get paid because time is of the essence and we move into bigger things. So but we
Absolutely.
appreciate y'all for tapping in.
All right, guys. Well, we'll hopefully see you guys next week. We'll start putting some stuff out this week, to try to, get some more comments back and forth, some questions, and really we're doing this for you guys, so we appreciate y'all popping in and liking, and make sure to comment, and we'll see y'all soon.
Peace, man. Appreciate you, Steven.
Yes, sir.